Hello and welcome to the Green and Gold Gridiron Show. I'm Margot Morin.
And I'm Chris Sheets from Kissin' Country 103.9. We've got a lot happening on the show today. As well, we learn a ton about defensive lineman Greg Peach. Greg was injured after some incredible games, of course, so he had a little time off to practice his drawing and his basketball skills. He's going to be competing in two of the fun things we've got on the show, and we'll also hear from Morley Scott. But first, Margot.
Right, so we're starting today's show off with our fifth quarter segment. We're checking in with a tough as nails defensive back, or forward defensive back, Trent Brown. Check it out.
You know, it took me a few years, and you know what, I think that's what usually happens with Canadian kids. It takes you a few years, you play on teams for a few years, on special teams, so you run down, you cover kicks, and but by about my third or fourth year, I was starting to come into my own, but it was a big transition, no question. The first time I ran out on that field, it was sort of like, it was like, is this really happening? It was almost like I was in the twilight zone, because you run out there and it doesn't feel real. It's like, pinch me, somebody pinch me quick. But once I got ear hold a few times and was laying on the ground looking up at the stars, that felt real, and I knew that it was real then.
Taken by Blaze Bryant, and Bryant is shut down in the sidelines. He fumbles, and the Eskimos have got it. Trent Brown recovered the ball.
The first half of that year, we actually didn't do that well. I mean, it took some time, and we had a few lumps, and we had some growing pains, but by the end of the year, we just sort of got on a roll, and it was one of those years. You know, when you know that everything is going well, and you're on a roll, you peak at the right time.
Lancaster and the Edmonton Eskimos are 1993 Grey Cup champions.
I had finally got to the place that I'd worked so hard to get to. I was a starter on my hometown team. I had made the all-star team. I had finally got to where I wanted, and then started to get the concussions. And so I had to sit down with my mom, I had to sit down with my dad, and we had a heart-to-heart, and they both wanted me to leave the game. One of the things that did make it easier was that I had a game plan. I knew that I was going to go back to law school. I had been accepted to law school. So I worked really hard in law school and did quite well. Came back here, I articled here, and I've been working for my dad ever since. And I absolutely love it here. My dad has built a great law firm here. The staff here is second to none. Great organization, and it starts with the people, I think. The same as I was saying here about our law firm. Great people that are there, and that's why the organization, I think, is great, and there's still a lot of them around, and so I still keep in close touch. That old adage is true: once an Eskimo, always an Eskimo.
What a turnaround for Trent to stop playing football, but then be able to go and pursue his passion with his career after football.
Yeah, absolutely. Great story, Margot. All right, it's time for a new episode of Draw Play. Now, this is lots of fun. It's a defensive lineman, Greg Peach. I'd be scared not to get the answer with him. You know how big he is, but anyway, let's see how it goes.
Hi, it's Dave Jamieson. We are playing another edition of Draw Play here on the Gridiron Show, and with me today is Eskimo D-lineman
Greg Peach.
Greg, welcome. Do you know how we do this?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to hand you a card. You're going to step to this board, and then you're going to draw like you've never drawn before. Go for it.
Come on, 1 minute.
You gotta let's see it though, Peach.
Waves. Worm.
Snake.
Yep.
Hey.
Next card.
You know it's time.
More speed, more speed, more speed.
Greg's he's a deliberate artisan.
Hat.
Cowboy. Cowboy.
Very nicely done.
Cowboy. Who was it? Temperature thermometer.
Well done. Thermometer.
Gears. Jason Moss.
Oh, shit. A ghost. Hey, that's the same thing I did. That's the same drum I did.
I agree.
Time is up. Greg Peach, well done.
He won. He won. God.
Greg, thanks for playing Draw Play.
Yeah, thank you.
I've never seen a thermometer like that, and I have to agree with Ricky. The moment I saw those ears, you have to think a little bit about Jason Moss. See, when you got a big head like mine, the ears always look small. That's probably the key. Anyway.
Well, I hope that Greg has a little bit more talent on the basketball court than he does with the drawing pad. Greg used to play a little bit of basketball in high school, and so he's stepping onto the court with members of the Edmonton Energy basketball team. So today, in Out of Bounds, we're following him as he does that. Check it out.
What's up, man? I'm Greg.
You played at Eastern Washington?
Yeah, I did. I played basketball at Evergreen High School in Vancouver, Washington, and I was the post player, so I never really got to shoot any three-pointers or anything, but we made it to state that year at the Tacoma Dome, got knocked off, and that was the end of my career. Football's my love, and you know, I just stuck with that. I don't think I could have played. That would have been a pipe dream if I tried going for that, so I just stuck with football, and it worked out all right. Basketball, especially when you're rebounding, it's a lot of leverage and you know, using your body in certain ways, and that's exactly what football is it's a game of leverage and being in the spots you need to be. You know, whether in basketball it's getting a rebound, or in football it's staying in your gap and making a tackle on the running back. And it's also a great way to stay in shape too. I do it in the off season just to keep my lungs working and, you know, get that gas tank. So. Played with Matt Nichols a lot. Played with Dario a little bit, Romero, and then just some of my college buddies I played football with. We've always been, you know, we always like to shoot around and get some games going. I think conditioning in basketball is a lot tougher than conditioning in football. Especially when you're making the switch from football to basketball, trying to run up and down the court, you don't really get any breaks. You got to play defense, and that's tough on your legs. But I think that's a big difference. I think that's actually the biggest difference, is just adjusting to the court, to the field, where you get breaks for 20 seconds between plays. Well, as a kid, I would say the Chicago Bulls, just because of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman. But then, as I got older, I stuck with my home team, Portland Trail Blazers, and Rasheed Wallace. He was my favorite player. He's the only jersey I own for basketball. But I got to watch a lot of games, you know, Clyde Drexler and Clifford Robinson, Buck Williams, and you know. But they're my team now, even though they haven't won a championship in a while, since '77. So, but I'm always rooting for them.
Wow, not only does he have some serious talent, but he knows a lot about the game too. That's pretty impressive. Reminder to tune in next week when he has a three-point challenge with members of the Edmonton Energy basketball team.
Speaking of three-pointers, Morley Scott, play-by-play guy for 630 Chad. Well, he's not much of a basketball player. He did get a three-pointer recently, though. It was when he was going a little too fast on the white mud.
Oh, demerits.
Demerit thing. But anyway, this would be the kettle calling the pot black, or however that term goes. Anyway, let's check in with Morley and Morley's Minute.
Thanks very much, Chris. I'm here with Mathieu Bertrand. Mathieu, going back to Montreal, I imagine it's an important game for you, but probably more so an important game for your family, right?
Yeah, it's nice to see my family, and I like Montreal City too. It's always nice to visit out there, but playing in front of my friends and family is always special.
You've done it before. You've done a lot of times, obviously. For everybody involved, because Montreal is such a great city, there's got to be some players got to stay focused for those games, right? Well,
our coach, they do a good job putting late meeting before the game and everything. I think they did a good job to keep our team just like focused. So I think they're probably going to do the same in Montreal.
Montreal's a tough place to play for everybody. It's not so much the city or the stadium; it's the team there that makes the trips there tough, isn't it?
Yeah, Montreal, they got a good team. They got obviously a good quarterback. So we got to make sure we're just like put some hit and put some pressure on Calvillo, and if we can do that, I think offensively we can move the ball against them.
And of course, a trip to Montreal for you means lots of interviews en français, correct?
Yeah, just like people remind, just like they always remind, just like the time I was back in Laval University, and all the media out there, they're pretty excited to see me coming. So yeah, we'll probably have a few interviews in French. Yeah.
All right, man. Good luck and enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
That's Mathieu Bertrand.
Well, Well, that does it for today's show, but remember you can tune in next Wednesday starting at 4:30 p.m. on Shaw TV Channel 10. And of course, you can check us out on esks.com and shawtv.com.
Absolutely. Don't forget to catch the Eskimos' next game on the road Thursday, August 11th, as they head to Montreal for a huge game. Can you say huge game, Marco?
Huge game, Marco.
There it is, against the Alouettes at 5:30. You can listen live on the Voice of the Eskimos 6:30 chat as always, or check your Shaw HD listings. But until next time,
go Esks go! Hello and welcome to the Green and Gold Gridiron Show. That was rude. Skills, but he knows a lot about the game too. I don't know what we're going to say next.
Kind of a demerit thing, but I am of the pot calling the pedal back. Pedal black. That was brilliant.